Well, I figured it was gonna happen.
What, you mean the loss?
Yeah, the loss. I mean, it's the Coyotes. I should be used to this by now, but it still feels, it hits right here, man.
Yeah, well, at least we're not, this guy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Both of you. Thanks so much. Well, I don't know, guys. I'm feeling pretty good, actually. This is going great. It ain't easy being a Coyotes fan. And it ain't easy being a Coyotes fan living in Alberta. To the north of me are the Edmonton Oilers, and to the south of me are the Calgary Flames. And here I am, smack dab in the middle. So join me for Season 1 of the Albertan Coyotes Fan, where I talk about the Arizona Coyotes, the 23-24 Arizona Coyotes. Let's see if we make the playoffs this year. Stay howling. Go Yotes! Yotes lose 2-1 in what I can only describe as it was an intense game, but it was a game that made no sense. And this video is going to be basically a long version of me asking the word, what? That's all I can ask. Because, especially one sequence that happened in here, I do not, for the life of me, understand what was going through their heads. So, we're going to get into that. I'm going to gloss over most of the game, quite frankly. There's two moments I really want to talk about. So, the first period starts out, it starts out very good for the Rangers, actually. They end up getting an opportunity on Connor Ingram. And Connor Ingram is actually thrown over too far to where he wanted to be. He had to scramble back, but he wasn't back in time, so the defense had to cover up for him, and it was all good. It was all great. So we start out safe. A little bit into the period, there's different scrambles to get the puck. There was a really good opportunity for the Coyotes in front of Igor Shesterkin, but the first goal ended up being scored by the New York Rangers on a 2-on-1 that occurred when a Coyotes player was pinched off the puck in the offensive zone for the Coyotes, and two Rangers players were going the other way. There was a Coyotes player that was trying to follow along. He ended up overcommitting onto the puck handler, who passed it across to the guy on the left side, goes into the back of the net, 1-0 Rangers, and I'm already mad. And one thing I was seeing quite a lot of, there was really good puck handling, puck cycling being done by the Coyotes. And the puck was making its rounds, it was getting to all the players, we were holding the zone, which is really nice because we used to be a one-and-done team. So it's really nice to see now we are actually holding, and we are able to actually keep the puck towards the net, get it on net, but we need to be quicker with our releases. I'm seeing all these different points where the puck comes to the player who's ready to shoot, but it might come up just a little bit on an angle or something, and they have to corral it, and then they shoot it, but at that point, the defense and the goaltender are adjusted. And I know I seem angry right now, I am a bit angry right now, but there's a lot that happened in this game, and for a score of 2-1, you wouldn't imagine that it's a really ramped up game. But we'll get to that. So, taking my advice now that I said it after the game, Cooley connects with Schmaltz, who connects with Clayton Keller. It's a one-timer, it goes into the back of the net, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Right there. Off the stick, off the stick, off the stick, in the back of the net. Light up the goal horn. Get Howling for You by the Black Keys going. We've tied the game in the second period. So we just blew over the first period. We are now going into the second period. And things start to hit the fan a bit. Cooley ends up starting a bit of a chain. He takes a rush on the right side. He gets past the defense, but he can't get past Igor Shesterkin. And in this little bit of a play, there were some things going on between a Coyotes player and a Rangers player that I honestly couldn't tell you. Apparently, the Rangers player had fists up in the Coyotes player face that started a whole thing, but the refs really weren't helping their case. They weathered that storm, and then I think it was Kelly Sutherland. Okay, Rangers players coming up on the right side. The referee, I'm not even going to be able to explain this with the visual. I'm going to try with my hands. Okay, players coming up on the right side. And the referee is on the outside. He has to try and get inside so that he's not in the way of the puck, but he's too late. So, playing very exceptional defense for the Coyotes, which thank you, Kelly Sutherland. He cuts through and breaks up the play that the Rangers were making. And at basically the same time, the Rangers are also called for slashing. And then, a Rangers player had the audacity to take a slap shot at the boards. A Rangers player decided, okay, well, instead of beating up a player, I'm going to shoot this piece of rubber at the boards. And he gets called off for unsportsmanlike conduct. And I'm not a Rangers fan, but I can sympathize with you guys because that's ridiculous. It was getting to a point where the two teams are starting to get aggressive with each other. And when you have teams getting aggressive with each other, things don't go so well. So that sequence happens. I'm very confused. Like I said, this video is a big version of me saying, what? And we go into the third period with a 5-on-3 power play, which we don't score on. And I'm not too happy about that. So, we're early in the season. I can't be too upset, but I can be a little upset because you have a 5-on-3. You should be able to do something with it. And it keeps going. When closer to the end of the period, we're still trying to catch up on that one goal. The Coyotes end up taking a penalty shot. Like we get to shoot the puck like it's a shootout because Jason Zucker was hauled down on his way trying to score into the net of Igor Shesterkin. I spent a bit of time. This is going to go completely wild because now I'm talking about the Calgary Flames, which is not the Arizona Coyotes. But last year I had watched quite a few of the Calgary Flames games because I'm Albertan and the Coyotes were not going to make the playoffs by any means, so I wanted to see a tight race how they were going to handle that out in Calgary. Oh boy. And there was one shootout that the Calgary Flames had against the Nashville Predators. And I think one against the Canucks too, but I didn't watch that one. But the one against the Nashville Predators, both Huberdeau and Kadri couldn't have cared less. They just tossed it at the net and went home. And that, even though we're not in a tight playoff race as of now because it's early in the season, that is what I saw from Jason Zucker. He skated up, he took a wrist shot, it hit Igor Shesterkin, who, by the way, is Igor Shesterkin. He is not just, some random goalie that they picked out from the third line. He is one of the greatest goaltenders in the NHL right now. And you're going to take a wrist shot at him? So I was not thrilled with that. And that moves us into the remainder of the game. I am blowing through this way too fast, but again, it's going to be fast because what I really want to say to all of this is, what? The aggression starts to build up. The Coyotes are getting a bit more loose with their defense. The Rangers are ramping up the intensity. Everything is just high flying for the adrenaline and for the emotions. And the time winds down. The Rangers shoot at the puck the length of the ice to gauge an icing. And I don't know what the refs were thinking because that icing could have been mitigated because the game had run out. There was no more time on the clock. They put 0.5, half a second, back on the clock so that the Coyotes could make a fool of themselves once more on a face-off. And shocker, it didn't matter. Why the refs decided to do that, I don't know. But I think, based on what I saw after the icing, they were just skating off the bench, or towards the bench at least. and everything was calm, fine, and dandy, they had to do one more face-off. And steam blew over, everything boiled over, and the Coyotes and the Rangers ended up in a bit of a line brawl. Which is great when you consider that these teams aren't going to play until March 30th, so you can't even see what the what's going to come off from this until next year. But that could have been avoided if the ref had just said, "Oh, no, game's over. There's zeros on the clock. The puck was still in motion, for pity's sake." I don't know what the refs were thinking. And the Coyotes play tomorrow. And they're playing angry. And I have to call out or shout out one person in particular. Whoever is in charge of the audio at Madison Square Garden, I love you. Because when this brawl was going on, there was circus music that was playing over the loudspeakers. And if there was any form of music that you could play over that was it. So, all in all, the game ends on a sour mood. I'm sitting there, again, video to say, what? And we play again tomorrow. So, now that the what video is out of the way, for all the negativity that I've, demonstrated in this video, there is a lot that the Coyotes have developed and they've gotten better at. Like, for one thing, the intensity is good. The Coyotes do need that bit of a get going sort of situation. Like, it's nice that they're being a bit more aggressive. It's just sometimes it turns into that, and, But they were doing some things that I really liked. If they continue, like, things with the defense from the first half of the game specifically, and even some of the offense, we are holding the zone, which is new. I think it's pretty new, because usually it's a dump and run, or it's, oh, well, that's turnover, that's going out, okay, oh no. So, I think we have a really good Coyotes team. We need better refs, is what we need. And I understand they're only human. How many complaints have come up over the situation with refs in the past couple of years? In the past couple decades? This isn't a new problem. But nothing's being done to fix it. Tim Peel comes to mind. That wasn't just human error. That was him being... I don't know what he was doing. But the integrity isn't there because, one, it's a fast-paced sport where you can't keep track of everything. And as much as the fans would love to have control over, getting penalties to go their way, good luck. They won't do that. But two, it's the idea, as, it's said in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, but the difference being is a fictional dude can actually wield power with responsibility. Someone else who is given a sense of power, suddenly no, because, hey, I get to control millionaires. So, there are quite a few refs I do respect. There are a lot that I don't, because of certain things that happen. Tim Peel is one of them that I do not because of that. But there's just you can tell, you can blatantly tell when it's a mistake and when it's either bias or power. You can. And it gets infuriating sometimes. Like, I wouldn't be yelling about this if it weren't for the fact that I think at least the end sequence, I don't know about the ref defense, that sequence, I don't know what to make of that. But certainly that last bit, I would not be surprised at all if I were to ask that ref, like, why do you do it? Oh, I went to see a fight. I would not be surprised if that's the answer. So, with that all said, and my throat already going on me because I screamed during the game, And also the fact that I've got a cold coming on, because I live in Alberta, and surprisingly, it's cold. We play tomorrow at New York again, but the other New York this time. So as you see, there's two New Yorks. So I will see you again tomorrow. In the meantime, stay howling and go Yotes. Get a good night's sleep, because we're back at it tomorrow.